Yesterday, huge news that I think is very important and worth discussing. Walt Disney came out with their earnings. There's been a big discussion about Ron DeSantis going after Disney for their woke Disney programming. And a lot of people said last year, what in the world is Ron DeSantis doing, stepping up to Disney, stepping up to ESPN, stepping up to the biggest company basically in the state of Florida in terms of its overall cultural impact? And DeSantis came out and said, essentially, Disney needs to stay in their lane or else the state of Florida will have consequences for Disney. And remember, this all started because the state of Florida said, hey, kindergarten, first, second graders, young kids don't need to be taught sexuality-related issues, something that overwhelming majorities of parents agree with. And then Disney CEO Bob Chapek stepped in and got involved. And I can't tell you the number of people out there in the left-wing media who said, oh, this is a big misstep for Ron DeSantis. What is he doing going after Disney? This is going to blow up in his face. He's not going to win this battle. Something interesting happened. Ron DeSantis didn't just win the battle. It was a flawless victory. He won the biggest re-election in the state of Florida for a Republican ever by 19 points. Bob Chapek, the CEO of Disney, who attacked him over the made-up Don't Say Gay bill controversy, lost his job. And yesterday, Bob Iger, who came back to take over as CEO of Disney, had a really disappointing earnings report. Things are going so bad at Disney right now. Let me hit you with the stat because it's kind of unbelievable. $9 billion Disney has lost in streaming since they debuted Disney Plus and ESPN Plus. I'm going to get to that in a sec. $9 billion with a B. If you wonder why it's gotten so expensive to go to Disney World and take your family there, it's because they're desperately trying to paper over the losses that are coming from streaming by ratcheting up the cost, so you basically can't take a family of four to Disney World anymore for less than about $1,000. They're trying to make up the money that they're losing on streaming by gouging people inside of the Disney parks. But unfortunately, a lot of people out there, Bob Iger announced that Disney's going to lay off 7,000 employees and try to cut costs by $5.5 billion because the business, woke Disney, is falling apart. DeSantis not only won and got the biggest re-election in the history of the state of Florida for a Republican, the CEO who argued with him got fired, and the new CEO just had to fire 7,000 different employees and announced that they continue to lose money in streaming in a big way. This is why I've said for some time, been way ahead of the curve on this. For years, I have been arguing cable and satellite bundle collapsing was going to be destructive for ESPN. It has been. What they tried to argue in media, Disney in particular, was they said, well, yeah, we're losing tens of millions of subscribers on the cable and satellite bundle for ESPN, but we're going to make it up through ESPN Plus. They essentially argued, hey, we've got two different boats that are floating around out at sea. Yes, the cable and satellite bundle is starting to take on water, and it's starting to sink. But before it goes underwater, we're going to pull up right next to it with our very own streaming service, ESPN Plus, and everybody's going to exit off of the sinking ESPN cable and satellite business, and they're going to move over to streaming. It's not happening. They missed subscriber numbers, not only at Disney Plus, but also at ESPN Plus. People are not signing up at the rate that they were before. In fact, they actually lost subscribers at Disney Plus, barely grew at ESPN Plus. And what's happening is both of these boats, instead of streaming, rescuing the cable and satellite business, they're both going underwater. And it means that both are going down faster than if they had never had the streaming service in the first place. So what's the solution here? $9 billion in losses. Still haven't made any money at all off Disney Plus. Have lost tons of money off ESPN Plus. Solution now for ESPN in particular is Disney has two options. One, they can stop investing to a large degree in the streaming service and slowly start to take the money out of ESPN and put it into other parts of the company at Disney. Or, what I think is probably the best move, they can spin ESPN off, either selling it or putting it out on its own, and they can get as much money for the parent Disney Corporation as they can. What I've been telling you for a long time is ESPN doesn't make sense for Disney. It's basically a renter. It rents games from the NFL, from the NBA, And the brand has gone full woke, and it is collapsing as a result, which makes it even harder to get people to sign up for the streaming service, which I don't believe is going to be profitable anytime soon because, and this is the thing that nobody will talk about with streaming, it's very seasonal in sports. And also, even in streaming, as all of you out there are ending up with so many different streaming services, Netflix, Amazon, Paramount, all of these different Netflix, ESPN Plus, Disney Plus. Remember when they said you were going to save money without a cable and satellite subscription? A lot of you are actually paying way more and having difficulty even finding the games that you want to watch. And so what's going to happen is what you're seeing, sports streaming in particular is very seasonal. It's relatively hard to end your cable and satellite bill or to sign up for a new one. Streaming is easy. You go in, you cut the cord on streaming. Let's say you're a big football fan. As soon as football season's over, you're out. Let's say you're a big basketball fan. As soon as basketball's over, you're out. Let's say you're just a fan of original content on Disney Plus or Netflix or Hulu or whatever it might be. You watch all of the new shows, subscribe for a couple of months, and then you're gone. And that presumes you're not sharing somebody else's password and never signing up in the first place. My point here is streaming is a disaster for Bob Iger and for Disney, and it's exacerbated in that disaster by making the decision to go woke, which is leading to Disney going broke, losing $9 billion on streaming programming, and with people stopping to sign up right now, which means they're going to spend less money on new content, which in theory means there'll be even less demand for people out there to go sign up. This is a mess of epic proportions that Bob Iger has stepped into the middle of, and it doesn't help at all that woke programming is actually destroying the underlying Disney brands in the process. Now, I just laid all that out, I think pretty understandably for the vast majority of you. Doesn't mean that there's not people out there that are upset, that I would have the audacity to tell you what I think about the media business. I mean, after all, what do I know? I just created a business out of nothing, Outkick, that has got 20 million unique readers a month now, that is producing tens of millions of video feeds, that soon will have all-day programming, kind of out of nowhere because Outkick didn't exist before I created it. You can hate me. You can think I'm the worst human being on the earth. You'd be wrong, but you can make those decisions. What you can't do is what this clown at the LA Times said in response to me analyzing the business of Disney and ESPN. I don't even know what this guy's name is, but he tweeted, you can go look at it because I responded to him, "You really don't know anything about the media business." Now look, I don't get to work at the LA Times, a media business that is not doing very well, by the way, and has sold multiple times of late because nobody can really make money off of it. But I do host, along with Buck Sexton, the biggest radio show in the country. I do regularly appear on Fox News, the most popular cable channel in America. I do regularly go on the road and appear on Fox Sports programming surrounding the biggest sporting events in the country. And I did sell Outkick last year to Fox for a sum of money that is so substantial, I never have to work again, and I'm now fabulously wealthy. Now, look, I'm not the kind of guy to brag or draw attention to myself. You guys know that's not me. It's not what I'm about. But I think all of that evidence would suggest that maybe I understand the media business just a little bit. And in fact, if you want to go read Republicans Buy Sneakers too, you can even see me years ago laying out exactly what was happening to Disney and ESPN and why it was a disaster. And if you want to go even further back, you can read me laying out all of these facts and all of these details as it pertains to the media business and ESPN and Disney being in trouble long before anybody else was even recognizing that cord cutting was an existential threat to the media business itself. Or you can go be a stooge at a major newspaper that's in danger of going out of business at any point, and you can go online and lecture people that they don't understand about business. You can do, or you can tweet. Oftentimes those aren't the same things at all.